So this morning, woke up and had already prepared for tonight's stream. I actually did it ahead of time, read through Hal Puthoff's scientific paper on spacetime metric engineering, and I woke up for some pretty crazy news. Let's watch together and get a live reaction.
This footage that has been circulating and getting so much attention and so much debate, and it's allegedly of the MH370 commercial airplane that had disappeared. And I'll put the footage up, but you can see these three orbs circling it, and then there's this pop of light, and it dematerializes. So there's so much debunking of the video, and then there's debunking of the debunkers, and I don't know what to make of this. There's this guy Ashton Forbes who's been championing this, and I reached out to him, never heard back. So whatever. But the question is this real, and is this the kind of man-made technology that would be used in a false flag attack and blamed on extraterrestrials?
The first question, is it real? I don't know.
Okay, I just ruined it. I was trying to cut it off before he said what his answer was. Okay, but he says he doesn't know. Let's just let it play out.
I don't have the provenance for it. The second question is yes, because that capability, I think it's an Einstein-Rosen bridge is what they're doing, if you want to look that up. And we have a scientist on our team who's worked at a very senior NSA and corporate level who has said it is real, and it was an Einstein-Rosen bridge, and it was man-made, and it was a test. Now,
what? I mean, chat. That's Stephen Greer, the first time he's publicly commented on the videos ever. And for people who are wondering, I have never been in touch with Stephen Greer. I had no idea that was going to happen. The person who's interviewing Stephen Greer is the producer on his documentaries, including the documentary The Lost Century, the one all about free energy. Wow. Wow. So for them to bring it up, I'll tell you guys why they're bringing it up. I'll be 100% honest on why they're bringing it up. They are bringing it up because everybody is asking about it, because you guys are asking about it. Anybody out there that says the people don't have any power, just look at this community. People think that you guys are bots because of how organic this movement is, because the people that believe in this have looked at the evidence and they've come to their own opinion. That's why it's so gravitating. And so these people are talking about it because they're getting asked about it all the time. How do I know that? Because Jeff Wise literally told everybody, I constantly get asked about Ashton Forbes and the Orbs videos. And he's just some MH370 investigator nobody really cares about. That's just some blue pill guy. So you know these other guys are getting asked about all the time. You know Ross Coulthart, Jeremy Corbell, George Knapp, Lou Elizondo. They're getting asked about me all the time. I know Lou Elizondo's getting asked about me because people tell me. So that's the times people tell me. That's only probably like a small percentage of time that people, compared to how many times people do ask. So that's why they're bringing it up. And it's not credit towards me. No, it's credit towards you all. That's credit to you guys. You guys realize you're the ones who are making this happen. You are making them uncomfortable. You are doing the very civil disobedience that everybody talks about in politics. You guys are doing it, and we're doing it in the craziest way possible, which is forcing the government to reveal that they literally have free energy technology. Okay, let's go back to the Stephen Greer thing. I'm gonna go. We're gonna come through this clip a couple times, so I'll let the rest of it play out. There's certain parts of it I really want to dig into, though.
I don't know if that's true, because again, the actual footage itself, I always say, well, what's the provenance of it? Where did it come from? Who had it? And honestly, I don't have that information, and I don't have anyone on my team who has a direct access to it, the origins of that footage. Now, maybe this gentleman you mentioned does, or maybe someone he knows does. I don't know. But the people I think do have some good information, what it portrays is something that we absolutely can do. And remember, during the drone stuff, where they're obviously just drones with motors, and then there were orbs, and 100% of that was man-made. None of that was alien. And it was sort of a testing of this false flag, and to what extent the media and the Congress and the hysteria and the circus all around it. As for that MH flight, all I can say is it's obviously went missing. This someone has said this is real footage. Now, let's just say, I don't know if it is, but if it is, I've had people look at it and say, oh yeah, we have that capability for sure.
Got it. Wow, that is
Let's
absolutely
fucking
terrifying.
go, chat. Let's fucking go. I mean, that is, if you were to rank the possible responses you could get, the very best possible response you could get in that scenario. I don't want him to come out and say, yeah, I know those videos are real. My secret sources told me that, they definitely know they're real and blah, blah, blah. And that's definitely wormhole, because then it would feel like he's just latching on to what I'm saying. But the way he says it, where he's like, I don't know the provenance, I can't say if they're real, but I had people look at it, and yes, the science checks out. That's what he's saying right there. That's what he's saying directly. The science checks out. That's what UFOs would look like. That's what Einstein-Rosen bridge would look like. Literally the topic of tonight's stream. Modifying the space-time metric is literally turning space-time into Play-Doh and molding it. And when you do that, you change geometry. And when you do that, you change reality. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. Now, let's dig into a few aspects of that. First, thank you very much for the donations. First of all, Fly Ether has been making amazing clips. Follow him on X. Clips are astonishing, brother. Thank you. I'm actually going to play another one of his right now as well. And then Arthur Jones, thank you very much. Yeah, this is actually my side gig. I actually wanted to address this in the beginning. I thought it was a little too pretentious, so I took it out. But now I'm going to address it again, is that part of the reason why I have not been as active in X spaces and stuff like that is because I have decided in the last few months to refocus back on my job, because I would like to keep my job and I like it. And part of me kind of wonders, I want to just be a normal person for as long as possible, because this is all going to end up being true. It's just a matter of the clock playing itself out. So I want to keep focusing on my job and doing that, but it makes it hard. So I apologize if I haven't been reaching out back to people as responsive. If so, it's not personal. It never is. Just ping me again if you didn't get a response, and I'll get back to you. So also, I want to point out that, yes, he said in that clip, the producer said he tried to reach out to me. Do you think I would ghost the producer of the documentary that I say is the best documentary out there, like ever, of any genre, The Lost Century? Just quite literally goes through the history of free energy devices and how they've been suppressed, why they've been suppressed. Just explains it and lays it bare. I think that people don't realize that science and physics is real is what really holds people back. And a lot of it's because we come from this classical materialistic view of reality. And the world hasn't really adjusted to the quantum reality of the situation. Now, let's go back to the money clip.
The second question is yes.
Wait, what's
because that capability, I think it's an Einstein-Rosen bridge is what they're doing, if you want to look that up. And we have a scientist on our team who's worked at a very senior NSA and corporate level who has said it is real, and it was an Einstein-Rosen bridge, and it was man-made, and it was a test.
Einstein-Rosen bridge, worked for the NSA, worked at the corporate level. Who is the scientist that he's talking about here? Who is the scientist working with Greer? There's not that many people. They're going to be one of the people's names that I've heard of before. Who is the scientist working with Greer here who's saying that? Could it be Carl Nell? Do you think Carl Nell could be? It's not Hal Puthoff. Who's running with Greer? I actually really want to know that information. And if anybody out there knows or has an idea of who the scientist he's talking about that worked with the NSA, that worked in the corporate area, that is advising him, be very curious to talk to them. And then the fact that he calls it Einstein-Rosen bridge tells me that he's really talking to real physicists, because that's what they're going to talk about it. I mean, yes, they'll colloquially call it a wormhole, and that's what I'll call it as well, because I don't give a shit. But technically, it's a bridge between the two locations. So people may say, Ashton, what is a wormhole? What is an Einstein-Rosen bridge? And I brought my trusty paper towel today to help us out. So right off the bat, it's important to understand that space-time, what we think of as space-time all around us, like this universe, it's not some sphere, homogeneous sphere. It's mostly equally distributed, but it's got bumps and ridges in it as well. So our actual reality is probably, from a shape perspective, let's just call it malleable. It's malleable. So it's not like we would imagine a fantasy version of our reality. And if you can actually change the geometry of it, like imagine I pour a bunch of paint on a canvas and that canvas just starts to spread, or the paint starts to spread out everywhere. If I can control where that paint goes, I can make shapes. I can make art with it. We can do the same kind of thing, but with space-time itself. So when we're talking about an Einstein-Rosen bridge, we're talking about actually taking the fabric of reality around us and bending it. We're not talking about modifying us. I'm not going to shrink myself down, but other people that see me, they're going to see in what looks like an optical illusion. This is the cheat of general relativity that Miguel Alcubierre found out. And other people have speculated. In fact, I believe it was John Archibald Wheeler that coined the term black hole, and maybe even wormhole as well. So what are we doing with space-time? We are technically modifying the permittivity. When we're messing with this fabric, we're changing the refractive index of the vacuum. We're modifying that paint. And we can do something weird with our reality. What we can do with our reality is we can bend it. Just like the book A Wrinkle in Time, just like Lou Elizondo pointed out, where we pull it together. Now, this looks impossible. If you were to think of this as our reality and say, wait, you can do this and say these 2 points come together? Yes. That's exactly what we're saying. This physics is not me making up something new. It's just saying, yep, guys, that physics that everybody said is consistent with general relativity, it's all real. And yes, humanity has figured it out. Humanity has figured it out right now. It's hard to believe. Now, what else was it he said here? Let me go back to the main clip.
The kind of...
Okay.
I think it's an Einstein.
Hold on. I got too many clips in the background. So the other thing that he mentioned, Greer mentioned provenance. He said, well, I don't know where it's coming from. And I thought this was an interesting comment because a lot of people come to me that, especially the older generation, come back at me with like, well, where does the video come from? Who's the person who said that I leaked this video? To me, that's a very interesting thing to say, because how would you expect this to happen? Do you expect that someone who leaks something of this magnitude is just going to be allowed to speak freely about it? Oh my goodness, my voice cracked. They're not going to be allowed to speak freely about something of this magnitude. It's far too huge. I mean, the big thing about these videos that make them impossible to believe isn't just that we're looking at a wormhole. It's that it implicates the United States government as having this technology today. So there's no way that when something real like this leaks, it's not going to be at a whistleblower on CNN. No chance in hell. And a lot of you in the comments, I can see your comments, and you're all saying, no way, too big. Exactly. A lot of these people, a lot of the legacy UFO disclosure advocates, they have been dependent upon whistleblowers, people that are government people that are coming out that basically they're just putting their credibility on the line. This is literally what they're doing. And I'm not judging them here. I'm just saying this is what's happening. is that they have people come out and they say, I saw stuff. I don't have any evidence, but I saw stuff. I want you to believe me. And therefore, your credibility is all that matters because you're just making claims. I'm doing the exact opposite of that. I don't have a whistleblower. I have the evidence. So when they come out and they say, here's a bunch of claims, I don't have any evidence, I'm doing the opposite. I don't have any claims, I have the evidence. And I'm just trying to build the story.